Yes, in this lecture we'll see what is if statement in Python. So how we can work with if statement in Python. So first of all, whenever we write some conditions, we'll be using Boolean expressions, right? So these Boolean expressions are going to produce either true or false. Okay, they're going to produce either true or false. So let's see some of these examples here. 5 double equal to 5. 5 and 5 both are equal, right? So this is going to produce true. 5 not equal to 5, condition is false. That's why it is going to produce false. And next, 3 less than 2, condition is false. 3 less than or equal to 3, condition is true. And A is compared with B. A is less than B. So lexicographically A is less than B, right? So this is going to produce true. Now, if you are writing any empty container, in that case it is going to produce false. Okay. So empty in the sense you're not writing anything inside a string, or if you are taking an empty list or empty tuple. Okay. So all these things are examples of the empty containers. Okay. And now let's see the syntax of the if statement. So first you have to write keyword if followed by the conditional expression and mention the colon. Okay. And immediately if you press enter, it will take you to the next level of indentation. So this is at one level and this is at another level, the next level of indentation, and the code related to this if block will be written here. Okay. And this line is outside the if block. Okay. So exactly saying these two lines, you can see this is the if condition and this is a statement inside the if block. Okay. And this statement is outside the if block. Okay. Now let's see an example. You can also import the values from the math library or module. Okay. So from math module, I'm going to import everything. So where I'm considering value of pi and value of e. Okay. So pi is greater than e, condition becomes true, and it is going to print the associated statement which is pi is bigger than e. This will produce pi is bigger than e. So it will be the corresponding output. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Hello guys. In this video, we'll see an example for the if statement in Python. So let us consider checking the value of the number is greater than 0 or not. We're going to check whether the number is positive or not here. Okay. So for that purpose, I'll take the number as input, which is an integer value. So int of input of enter any value. Okay. So now I'll check this value is greater than 0 or not. Okay. Suppose if the value is greater than 0, then I can directly print here given number is positive. Okay. Like this. Now if I run this code, it is going to ask me to enter any value. Let us suppose I am entering value as 10. Now this will show you the result. Given number is positive because first it will store 10 inside the variable called num. Now 10 is greater than 0, condition will become true and the associated statement will be executed. Okay. So what happens if you want to check whether the number is negative or not also? In that case, you can add one more if statement here. So how we can do this is by writing if num is less than 0, then you can print given number is negative. Given number is negative. Okay, like this. So let's run here. Enter any value. This time I will enter value as -8. Now I'll get the result as given number is negative. And let us suppose if I want to give the input as 0, then this is not going to print anything. Okay, because condition will become false for 0 here and also here. So in such case you can also write another if statement. If num double equal to 0, in that case you can print given number is 0. Okay, so let's run this code and enter 0 this time. You'll get result as given number is 0. Now if I enter any positive value like 9, I'll get result as given number is positive. For example, if I give input as -77, I'll get the result as given number is negative. Like this, using if statement also, if you want to write more and more conditions, you can do it by adding more and more if constructs. Okay, so this is how you can make use of if statement. Now let's see how if-else statement is written in Python. So this is the syntax of the if-else statement. If followed by the condition. If this condition is true, associated block of statements will be executed when it is true. Suppose if this condition is evaluated to false, then control will be moved inside the else block. Okay, whenever this condition is false, control is transferred inside this else block and this block of statements will be executed. Okay, and from here to here it is if else block, and this is the code followed by the if else block. Okay, which is not part of the if else block. Let's see this example on if else statement. So when I write x comma y is equal to 2 cube comma 3 square. Okay, so what is x value? You can see here. So the meaning of this statement is clearly x is equal to 2 double star 3, so which is nothing but 2 cube. This is going to produce value as 8. Next, similarly, y is equal to 3 double star 2. This can be written as 3 square. So 3 square is 9. Now if you look at this condition, x is less than y, 8 is less than 9, condition becomes true. Okay, since this condition is true, associated statement will be executed. That is, the print statement containing x less than y will be displayed. So the output will be x less than y. Okay, so this is how it is going to work. Thank you. Now let's see an example program on if-else statement in Python. So first I want to check whether the given number is even number or odd number with the help of if-else statement. So let us consider this is num variable, and I'm going to read the value, and after reading this value, now we can check whether this number is even or odd. Okay, by just checking like this, num mod 2 double equal to 0. If any number you are able to divide with 2, then you can say the number is even number, right? So now I'll print given number is even. Okay, suppose if this condition is evaluated to false, then it is going to enter into the else block. Inside the else block, I'll write a print statement saying that given number is odd. Okay, so let's run this program and see the result. Enter any value. I'm entering value as 6, and you can see the result. Given number is even. Now let's run one more time. Enter any value. This time I'm entering value as 7. Given number is odd. So this is how it is going to work. Okay. So now let's write another program in order to check two given numbers are equal or not. Okay. So for this purpose, I have to take two numbers as input in order to check whether they are equal or not. Okay. Enter value 1. Okay. I'm taking another variable b to store value 2. Enter value 2. Okay. So after reading these two values, now we can check whether these two values are equal or not with the help of if-else statement. So here I can write a double equal to b. If this condition is true, then we can print given values are same. Or we can write given values are equal. Okay. Suppose if this condition is evaluated to false, then it is going to enter into the else block. So inside else block, I am going to print given values are not equal. Not equal. Okay. So now let's run this code and see the result. So it is prompting us to enter value 1. I am entering value as 14. Value 2 is 13. It will show you the result as given values are not equal because 14 is different and 13 is different. So let's take same value like 33 here, value 1, and value 2 is also 33. Now this will show you the result as given values are equal. Okay. Because for the first case 14 and 13, this a value becomes 14 and b value becomes 13. So 14 double equal to 13 condition will become false. So it will enter into the else block and it is going to display this statement given values are not equal. If you consider the second case, both the values I have given as 33, 33. Now in this case 33 double equal to 33 condition will become true. So associated statement will be executed, which is given values are equal. Okay. So this is how we can write programs related to if-else statement. So next one is elif statement in Python. So whenever we want to write multiple if conditions, so instead of writing multiple if conditions, you can also prefer writing elif statement. Okay. So whenever you have more conditions, we can prefer this elif statement, and this is multi-way selection statement. Out of multiple blocks, only one block will be executed. Okay. So if you look at this elif statement syntax, if condition 1, if this condition 1 is true, then the code which is written inside this block will be executed. If suppose this condition 1 is false, then control is transferred to check condition number 2. If suppose this condition 2 is evaluated to true, then code written inside this block will be executed. Okay. Suppose if this condition is also evaluated to false, then control is transferred to the else block, and here inside this else block we are not going to write any condition. So directly control is going to transfer inside the else block and execute the statements inside else block. Okay. So this is the structure of the elif statement, and this is the code whichever is followed by this entire construct. Okay. Now let's see this example. Score is equal to 88. We are taking initial value of score is equal to 88, and look at this condition. 88 greater than or equal to 90 condition will become false. So it will go to the next block and checks this condition. Score is greater than or equal to 80. 88 is greater than or equal to 80. Condition is evaluated to true. Immediately associated block of statements will be executed. and this b value will be displayed. Okay, directly b will be displayed here, isn't it? Okay, like this. Thank you. Now let's consider an example related to elif statement in Python. So I'm considering two numbers and finding the relation between these two numbers here. Okay, so the relation can be first number can be greater than second number can be greater than the first number, or both numbers are equal. These are the three possible relations, right? So let's take two numbers. First of all, I'll consider a is one number. So enter any value. Okay, now similarly I'll use variable b to store the same. Okay, enter any value. Now a will be holding one value and b will be holding another value. Okay, so let's implement this elif statement in Python. First, to check whether these values are equal or not, a double equal to b. Now we can write a and b are equal. Okay, now we can write another condition saying that a can be greater than b, right? If suppose a is greater than b, then we can print a is greater than b. Okay, and let's implement the else block. If suppose a is equal to b, we can see clearly a and b are equal. Suppose if a is greater than b, then it is going to print a is greater than b. Okay, if these two conditions are evaluated to false, then obviously the relation between a and b is a is less than b. Okay, so we can also write here a is less than b, or b is greater than a. Both are same, right? Okay, now let's run this code. Enter any value. I'm entering value as 17 and the next value is entered as 3. So you can observe a is greater than b. Okay, so let us suppose this time I'm going to enter values as 67 and 78. So this is going to clearly display b is greater than a. Okay, so let's run one more time, and this time I'll give both the values as same. Okay, so 15 and 15, so it has to produce a and b are equal. Okay, so you can also change the statements inside this print. Okay, whatever you want to write, you can write here, which is meaningfully like given values are equal. Okay, here you can also write first number is greater than second number. Here you can write second number is greater than first number, something like this. Okay, yes sir. In this video we'll see an example for writing elif ladder. So let's get started. So first consider this example. You're given a number and you have to check whether the number is positive or 0 or negative. So for this you have to read the number first. I'll consider num is equal to, so convert whatever input that you have taken into an integer type. So enter any value. So once the user enters the value, that will be stored inside num. Now we can check whether this number is positive or negative or 0. So when I write num greater than 0, and when this condition is evaluated to true, we can print given number is positive. Okay, suppose if this condition is false, then it will check another condition, and when this number is equal to 0, we can print saying that given number is 0. Suppose if this condition is also false, then it will go to the else block and we can print given number is negative. These are the three different cases, right? So let's run this code and see the result. Enter any value. Let us suppose I am entering value as 7. Immediately it will display given number is positive. Suppose if I enter any negative value like -4, then it will display given number is negative. So let us suppose if I am entering value as 0, then immediately it will display given number is 0. So like this, whenever you have more than two cases, then you can go for elif ladder. Okay, just like this. And this part of this construct will get increased. Okay, or I can say this part will get repeated again and again based on the number of conditions that you are writing. Okay, let us suppose I want to modify this program completely. So let us consider a bigger number, like if the number is greater than suppose 1000. Okay, if the number is greater than 1000, I'm going to print number is greater than 1000. Okay, now elif num is greater than 100. In that case, we will print number is greater than 100. And we can write one more condition here. Let us suppose number is greater than 10. Okay, print number is greater than 10. Okay, now similarly we can write one more condition, number is greater than 0. Okay, so here simply we can write number is greater than 0. Okay, so in the else case, I'll write here number is negative 0 or 0. Okay, so number is negative. Okay, suppose if you want to write one more condition for 0, you can also write with the help of elif. Okay, number is equal to 0. In that case, we can print simply number is 0. Okay, so I have written multiple cases. Okay, so this is one condition, this is the second one, third one, this is fourth one, this is fifth one, and finally if all these conditions are evaluated to false, it will go to this else block and it will print this statement. Okay, so let's run this code and see the result. Enter any value. Let us suppose I am entering value as 55. Then it will display just number is greater than 10, because first it will check 55 is greater than 1000, condition becomes false. Then it will check the next condition, 55 is greater than 100, condition false. Then it will check 55 is greater than 10, condition true, so associated statement will be executed, which is number is greater than 10. Okay, so similarly let us enter a value like 500. Now this 500 is first checked with this condition, 500 is greater than 1000, condition will become false. So it will go to the next condition, 500 is greater than 100, condition becomes true. So the associated statement will be executed, that is number is greater than 100. So let us suppose I am entering a value as 0. then it will immediately print number is 0, because all these conditional expressions are evaluated to false, and this condition will become true and the associated statement will be executed. So let us suppose I'm entering a negative value like -7. So in that case, it will go to this else block and it will print number is negative. Okay, like this. So next one is while loop in Python. So let's see the general syntax of while loop in Python. Okay, so we'll be generally writing an initial value for the loop variable above the while condition. Okay, and using while keyword we can write this condition here. Okay, if this condition is evaluated to true, then the block of statements will be executed inside this while loop. Okay, suppose if this condition is false, then block of statements will not be executed. Control is directly transferred outside this while loop. Okay, just like this. So consider this example. Initial value of I is equal to 3. And now look at this conditional expression, I is greater than 0. So in the first iteration you can see 3 is greater than 0, condition will become true, associated value of I will be displayed, that is 3 will be displayed here, and then I is equal to I minus 1, which means I is equal to 3 minus 1, value will become 2. In the next iteration, value of I becomes 2, 2 is greater than 0, condition becomes true, and it will print value of I as 2. And then I is equal to I minus 1, I is equal to 2 minus 1, value will be 1. In the next iteration, 1 is greater than 0, condition becomes true. Now value of I will be displayed, which is 1, and then I is equal to I minus 1, I value will become 1 minus 1 equal to 0. In the next iteration, I greater than 0, 0 greater than 0, condition will become false. So that is why block of statements will not be executed when I value becomes 0. And finally, this is the output obtained. Okay. Next, making use of break statement inside the loops, like for loop. You can see here we are considering break statement. What is meant by break statement? Whenever you want to move the control out of the loop, okay, whenever you want to jump the control out of the loop, in that case you can make use of this break statement concept. So let us consider vowels is equal to, initially vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Okay. Now consider for loop, for char in this particular string. Okay. So if the character, in the first iteration it is going to pick this character, in the next iteration next character, like this. If each of this character is in vowels, in that case it is going to print first vowel is char. You can see J is not a vowel, right? But A is a vowel. So this condition will be true for A. A in vowels, immediately it will display first vowel is A, and then break statement. So break statement is used to move the control out of this for loop. So after for loop there are no statements, that's why it is going to display output only one line, which is first vowel is A. Now in this example we'll see how to write a while loop in Python. So let us consider displaying numbers from 1 to 20 using while loop. So in order to display numbers from 1 to 20, each and every number like 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on up to 19, 20. So to do this, what we can do exactly here is we need initialization statement, and then we need conditional expression, and also we need to update the loop variable. Okay, so these are the three basic components that are required while writing or working with the loops. Okay, especially while loop, isn't it? So let us consider the loop variable here, I, and initial value of I is 1 because I am trying to display numbers from 1 to 20. So this while loop must be iterating till value of I becomes 20. So while I is less than or equal to 20, then we can display value of I. Okay, so we can display value of I, and after displaying I value, we have to increment the I value because we are trying to move I value from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, and so on like this. So it has to increment by 1. That's why we can write I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, and that's it. This is enough, right? Okay, so this is clearly initialization. So let me write here, this is initialization, and next this is conditional expression, and this is update statement. Okay, now let's run this code and see the result. You can see the numbers are displayed from 1 to 20 clearly, isn't it? Okay, just like this. Now let's consider another program using while loop where we also write some conditions inside the while loop. Okay, so let me consider the program as display numbers from 1 to 100 which are divisible by both 4 and 5. Okay, so we need to display those numbers which are actually divisible by both 4 and 5, and these numbers are from 1 to 100. Okay, so if this is the case, then we can consider initial value. Okay, so let's see what is the initial value of the loop variable, because we are trying to iterate from 1 to 100, right? So I value must be 1 initially. Then we can consider while conditional expression as I less than or equal to 100. Okay, so in each iteration we need to check whether that I value is divisible by both 4 and 5. Then only we can display according to the given constraint. I mod 4 double equal to 0, and also I mod 5 double equal to 0. Okay, so if it is divisible by both 4 and 5, then you can say the given number is divisible by both 4 and 5, and we can display the number, right? Okay, so now I'll print value of I, end is equal to like this. Okay, so to move from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 like this, we have to increment I value by 1. I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, so let's run this code and see the result. You can see these are the numbers 20, 40, 60, 80 and 100. These are the numbers which are divisible by both 4 and 5 and are lying in the range of 1 to 100. Okay, like this you can also include some conditions inside the while loop. Okay, you can make use of if statement, also if else statement like this. Okay, so we'll see another example using while loop. Okay, so the example is count the number of digits in the given value. Okay, so you are given a value and you need to count how many digits are there. Let us suppose consider a number like 231. So this number has got a total of 3 digits, right? So we need to count how many digits are there in the given number. Okay, so for this purpose you need to read the number. First of all, num is equal to int of input of enter any value. Okay, so once you enter the value, now you can check or count how many digits are there in this particular number. Okay, so I'll take initial value of count is equal to 0. Okay, and we can write a while loop where this number is greater than 0. Till that point I'll iterate this block of statements to be executed. Okay, so first I'll increment the count value, that is count plus is equal to 1, and later you need to divide this number with 10. Okay, so which means you're counting one digit and removing that particular digit from the number. Okay, so finally you can display the total number of digits in the given number. Okay, number of digits in the given number. Okay, so that count we can display using this variable count. Let's run this code and see the result. So I'm giving input as 123, and let's see the output is number of digits in the given number is 3. Now let's run with a different value like 56743. So 56,743 is input, and you can see number of digits in the given number is 5. Okay, so this is how you can start implementing a while loop. Okay, now we'll implement example programs on for loop. So usually for loop can be used to access the elements of the list data structure or tuple sets or dictionaries or string like this. Okay, and apart from this we can also make use of range function to iterate through that particular range. Okay, so before going into the range function, let us take a sample list and iterate and display those elements of the list with the help of for loop. Okay, so let's start. So consider a sample list. A is the sample list I'm taking, and the elements are 10, 20, 50, 40, 30 like this. Now we can display this list directly by writing a print statement, print of A. We know we get the result like 10, 20, 50, 40, 30. So but we can also make use of for loop in order to iterate and obtain each and every element from the list. So for I in A, so for each element in list A, okay, so we are going to print the element I here. Okay, so each element we can print one by one, and you can see the result 10, 20, 50, 40, 30. This is the result. Okay, so very easy to iterate with the help of for loop and print all the elements inside the list or any other data structure. Okay, so this is one example. Now coming to another example, so I'll try to display the elements in the range like for example display from 1 to 100. Okay, so using for loop we'll display numbers from 1 to 100. Okay, so using range function we can iterate and display elements which are given in this range. So it's very simple. For I in range of, so we know right what is the starting range and what is the ending range. So if you want I can write here start is equal to 1. Okay, and end is equal to 100. Okay, so this is the range. Now we are going to iterate this variable I from start till end. Okay, so including end, that's why we have to write end plus 1, so that it is going to iterate up to less than end plus 1, which is nothing but end. Okay, so while printing I'm going to print this I value, and later I'll take some space while printing. Okay, so let's run this code and see the result. You can see all the numbers from 1 to 100 are displayed using for loop here. Okay. Now let us suppose if I want to display only odd numbers in the range. Okay. Display odd numbers which are in the range 1 to 100. So how we can modify this code is you need to check whether the number is even or odd. If it is odd number, then only you are going to display. Okay. So if I mod 2 not equal to 0. Okay. So in that case, we can print the number. Otherwise, I'm not going to print that number. Okay. So you can see only the odd numbers gets printed. Okay. Suppose if they're asking you to display odd numbers from 1 to 100 and then display even numbers from 200 to 300. Okay. So as we know, this code is already displaying all the odd numbers in the range of 1 to 100. Now we need to consider another loop to iterate and display the even numbers from 200 to 300. So for this purpose, I'll take start is equal to 200, end is equal to 300. Now I'll write the for loop for I in range of start comma n plus 1 similarly. But here the condition is we are trying to display the even numbers. So you need to check whether the number is even or not. If it is even, then only you have to display I mod 2 double equal to 0. So this is a condition for the even number, right? So we can check that condition. If that condition is true, then you can display that number which is as part of the even number, right? Okay. So I'll display this I value and run this code. You can see here 1 to 100. These are the odd numbers. And then from 200 to 300, these are the even numbers. Okay. So if you want, you can also write a print statement above each of this loop. Okay. Odd numbers in the range of 1 to 100 are like this. So similarly, after completing this loop, we can write even numbers in the range of 200 to 300. Okay. So let's run this code and see the result. This time clearly the group of odd numbers in the range of 1 to 100 are displayed here, and later even numbers in the range of 200 to 300 are displayed. Okay. So this is how you can iterate for loop. Okay. And now we'll take another example. Okay. So find factorial of a given number. Using for loop. Okay. So we are going to take factorial of a given number, and implementation must be done with the help of for loop. So let's take the number as input here. Int of input of enter any value. Okay. So after reading the value, now you need to iterate and find the factorial of the given number, right? So initially I am taking the result f is equal to 1. So n factorial means you can iterate and obtain like this: 1 into 2 into 3 into so on into n will give you the result of n factorial. So for this I'll write the for loop for I in range of 1 comma n plus 1 and find factorial. That is we can write f is equal to f into I. In each iteration I value gets incremented by 1. Okay, finally once you obtain the result you can print the result saying that factorial of given number is. Okay, so what is the result of the factorial? F, right? So that result has to be displayed. So let's run this code and see the result. Enter any value. I'm entering the input as 5. So corresponding result is factorial of the given number is 120. Okay, like this. Yes, consider an example for the break statement inside for loop. So let us suppose I am writing a for loop in order to display the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so but I have added a statement like this. Okay, so we know if I comment out this particular statements then we'll get the result from 1 to 10. Numbers from 1 to 10 will be displayed, right? Suppose if I remove these comment lines, okay, it means I'm using a if block inside this for loop saying that if the value of I is equal to 5 then it is going to break this loop. Okay, control will be moved out of this for loop if I value is equal to 5 according to the break statement. Okay, it means what should be the result? When you run this code you will get result as 1 2 3 4 5 because after printing I value as 5 immediately it is checking I double equal to 5, condition becomes true and the break statement is going to move the control out of this for loop. Okay, so let us consider a continue statement instead of break statement. Okay, I'll use continue statement here. Okay, so if you use continue statement exactly at I equal to 5 it is going to move to the next iteration. Okay, so you don't see much difference because all the numbers gets printed as we are printing the numbers before checking this condition. Let us suppose I am going to remove this code here and keep after this if block. In that case you can see the result as 1 2 3 4 6 7 8 9 10. 5 is clearly missing here. Why? Because when the value of I is equal to 5 it is going to execute the continue statement which will move to the control to the next iteration. That is I value will become 6 for the next iteration and again 6 double equal to 5 condition false and from there onwards the values will be printed like 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so that is the basic difference between break statement and continue statement.